Torah Garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah Nation.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Yashar'el and Yahudah, grafted in Gentiles to the body for Mashiach, listening to none other than Hezekiah. Song is entitled Freedom is Win. I don't know the righteous music. Listen, we're doing it a little different again today. I've already did a Shabbat lesson, and you know what? I'm going to use that one. Because Yahudah is good. He good. So, you're going to hear me on the platform and our YouTube, on our Zoom, and if there was a subject that I would attach to that, it would be the renewed covenant. Yahuah has given you what you need. Flee Babylon. Again, Hezekiah, man of Yah, woman of Yah, called greatness. Woman of Yahudah, beautifully and wonderfully made on this Shabbat. I'm going to say shalom, shalom, shalom. And listen to the end. It was good. All praises to you, Yahudah. With that, I say Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, and Shabbat shalom, and be blessed.
Right, and if you have, excuse me, gotten the opportunity to listen, right? Yahuah has really been helping me to understand even more clearly the call, right? He's helping me to understand more clearly the witness. He's helping me to understand more clearly, right, the responsibility that we have in this witness to fulfill prophecy, right? To understand that, you know, there are so many voices. There's so many voices that are set in motion to distract, to hinder, to confuse, right? What Yahuah is trying to reveal to those whom he has chosen, right? Yeah. And it's why it's necessary for us to be born again of the water, the Ruach HaKodesh. Because if we in this hour do not allow ourselves to be led by the Ruach HaKodesh, right, and trust in this witness, what it brings, you know, what the Ruach HaKodesh does, if we can't bring ourselves to trust in this witness, we will be destroyed. Yeah. You know, we will be consumed. You know, it's necessary, especially, you know, because, you know, when the Most High was dealing with me in reference to the whole ideal of Babylon and how he has presented this word of fleeing Babylon, and how most people that are in the awakening don't see Yahuwah's hand in how he's bringing us out. Mm-hmm. Right? They don't understand. They are like, they are caught in the idea that our departure is going to be the same as it was when he delivers us out of Mitsrayim, right? So you have a lot of people, you have doctrine, you know, you have people teaching that, you know, Yahuwah is going to gather us up, you know, and bring us to the wilderness and rid us of the the waywards, those who don't want to have emunah, but he's going to deliver us out of Egypt, right? And the idea that Yahuah is going to deliver us out of Egypt and take us by the hand in the same manner as he did before is not going to happen, right? Yahuah through Yahushua Hamashiach, and again, Yahuah just brought it like gangbusters to me when we were in Hebrews, right? And Hebrews, the 8th chapter, right? So in Hebrews, the 8th chapter, Yahuah says, right, in that 7th verse, he says, no, let me see where I want to go. Yes, let's start the 7th verse. He says, for if that first covenant, right, had been without fault or faultless, right, then should no place have been sought for a second, right? So when you look at a covenant is agreement between two people, right? In this case, the covenant was between the Most High and Torah, right, and us, right? Covenant was between the Most High and us, but the Most High's Torah was what bound us to the covenant, right? We needed to uphold our end of the covenant, right, which had everything to do with obedience to Torah, right? And you brought this out before when you said, you know, how like he says, it says, if it had not been faultless, then should no place have been sought for a second. So if there wasn't a problem in the covenant, right, then Yahuah would have never had to send Hamashiach. He would have never had to correct what has happened in man, right? In order to fulfill this covenant. So, because in the 8th verse he says, for finding fault with them, right, in this covenant contract, the fault was with them. It was not with Torah. It was not with Yahuah, but it was with them, right? And that fault that was with them had everything to do with the conditions of their hearts, right? Now, we understand that in this witness, right, when we're born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh, right, there's a change that occurs in our hearts. When we recognize the change, the significance of the covenant and the significance of the change that occurs in Hamashiach, then we will understand more clearly that Yahuah is not taking us by the hand. Right? We'll understand more clearly that Yahuah is not delivering us by the hand, right? The idea of him assembling us, right? Because to gather is to assemble. The idea of assembling us is to bring us together in oneness, right? So that in the unity of the body, right? When we come together collectively in this witness, we will know how to proceed and leave, right? But it's not because Yahuah is saying, okay, I'm coming to get you. I'm coming to get you. I'm sending somebody special with me. He gonna tell Biden, he gonna tell Congress, he gonna tell everybody to let y'all go. Right? Right? So this idea that this change is about you and it's not about Yahuah. Right? See, because when Yahuah changes you, right, then all he has to do is allow you to do what you do because you've received power to be able to do what you do, and you can flee yourself.
Yeah.
You can remove yourself, right? So he says, in finding fault with them, he said, behold, the day cometh, saith Adonai, when I will make a renewed covenant, right? Now, we understand that this covenant was always to Yashar'el. It was always to Yahudah, right? Now, granted, Yahuah has made provisions for other nations to be grafted in, but the idea of this covenant was established for the house of Yashar'el and for the house of Yahudah, right? That's who this was established for, right? And it was established for them, right? Because Yahuah had originally established the covenant for them, right? And they, having received this contract, failed to uphold their end of it miserably, right? So he goes on to say, right, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of the land of Mitsrayim, right? Because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Adonai Yahuah. So what we have is Yahuah identifying that he has taken them by the hand, right? He's taken them out, right? Not because they were obedient to a covenant, right? They weren't removed because they were obedient to the covenant. They were removed because Yahuah remembered the covenant that he had made with their fathers, right? When Yahuah came with Moshe and he told Pharaoh to let his people go, right? Pharaoh refused. The children of Yashar'el weren't turning to Yahuah, right? Now you had them crying because of their
hardships, their oppression,
hardship, right? They were crying for the hardship, right? But they weren't serving the Most High Yahuah, right? So if you go to Yasher real quick, Yasher, let's go to Yasher, the 17th chapter. Yasher, the 17th chapter. Okay. He says, where is it? In those days, no. Oh, 71. I'm sorry. Yeah, sure.
Oh, that's about Abram. What you gonna go over some more?
71.
Moshe.
Yeah, 71 Moshe. And in that 12th verse, right? 71. And Aaron, his brother, alone remained. So what you have here is an experience that Moshe had when he was going to visit his parents in Goshen, right? So Moshe went to see his parents in Goshen. He knew who his parents were. Okay, now let's look at this. Let's start the 71st verse. We start at the first verse.
All right.
And Moshe was 18 years old. He desired to see his father and his mother, and he went to them in Goshen. Right? Because if Cecil B. DeMille's tell you the story, he didn't even know who his mama was, really. right?
Yeah,
Because you know, and the Ten Commandments.
oh, the
Go
movie.
ahead.
Yeah, but the
The
scripture said
movie.
that his sister was there when she put him in the reeds, and she said, I know this child's mother. Should I fetch him to wean him?" So he came up
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, but see, she she didn't actually tell. I don't think she told him this. Did she tell him the scripture? She she saw Pharaoh's daughter take him out of the river, right? And when she saw Pharaoh's daughter take her out of the river, she realized he was a baby and that he needed a nursemaid. She
Yeah.
presented herself and said, "Well, I know someone who could be a nursemaid to him," right?
Okay.
So, I mean, when I'm talking Cecil B. DeMille, I'm talking about the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they created a movie,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't complete. That
I don't.
wasn't right. So, you know, when you look at Moshe, you know, he being an older man, you know, you see him as Ben-Hur, or not Ben-Hur, but as most as the daughter of the son of Pharaoh's sister, right? But you don't see any connection that he had with his family, with his brother, because he knew he was Hebrew, right? He says here, and when Moshe was 18 years old, he desired to see his father and his mother and went to them in Goshen, because you know that's where we were settled, in Goshen, right? And when Moshe had come near Goshen, he came the place where the children of Yashar'el were engaged in work. So he was watching these children work, right? And he observed their burdens. He was watching how Pharaoh was, you know, or the taskmasters in the work that they were undergoing, right? And he saw a Mitsrayimite smiting one of his brethren. So he knew they was his brothers, right? One of his brethren. And he saw Mizraim smiting one of his Ivri brethren. And when the man was beaten, saw Moshe, he ran unto him and for help, for the man Moshe was greatly respected in the house of Pharaoh, right? And he said unto him, "My Lord, attend to me. This Mizraim came to my house in the night, bound me, and came to my woman in my presence, and now he seeks to take my life away." And when Moshe heard the wicked thing which his anger was kindled against the Mitzrayimite, and he turned his way and the other. And when he saw that there was no man there, he smote the Mitzrayim and hid him in the sands and delivered the Mitzrayim from the hands of him that smote him, right? And then it goes on to talk about how, and the Ivri went home and Moshe returned into his home. And I guess he came out the next day. And when the man had returned home, he thought to repute his woman, put her away, right? For it was not right in the house of Yaakov for any man to come to his woman after she had been defiled. They understood Torah. They understood the commandments, right? And when the woman went and told her brothers, and the woman's brothers sought to slay him, he fled to his house and escaped, right? He says, and on the second day, Moshe went forth to his brother and saw. Moshe went forth to, matter of fact, I could be just reading this from you. I'm reading it from a book. It's easy to read. And on the second day went forth to his brother, and he saw, behold, two men were quarreling. And he said to the wicked one, because he was able to determine the wicked one, "Why do you smite your neighbor?" Right? And how could he determine that unless he understood Torah? Right? You think about it, right? I mean, how do you differentiate wickedness? Right? Because you have a Torah. He said, "Why do you smite your neighbor?" And he answered and said unto him, "Who has made thee a prince," right, "and a judge," right? Because, you know, Abraham eventually became king, and priests.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he says, over us, do you think to slay me as you did the Mitsrayim? And Moshe was afraid, and he said, surely this thing is known. So Moshe is afraid now, he 18 years old. He killed the man.
I know that battle.
Right? He killed the man. It was a righteous judgment. Right? He rendered a righteous justice.
Yeah.
Because it was a judgment.
But
he defiled the daughter. He judged them, right?
He judged them righteously
according
to Torah, but he did it in a foreign land where it has no legal standing. Because they ain't Torah keepers,
So it wasn't that it was a problem with Yahuah.
Nah.
It was a problem with
the current government.
Right? So this is what happened, right? He says, and Pharaoh heard of this affair, right? And he ordered Moshe to be slain, right? So Elohiym sent an angel, and he appeared unto Pharaoh in the likeness of the captain of the guard. And the angel of Yahuah took the sword from the hand of the captain of the guard, and he took his head off with it, for the likeness of the captain of the guard was turned into the likeness of Moshe. Right? He says, and the angel of Yahuah took hold of the right hand of Moshe and brought him forth from Mitsrayim and placed him from the border of Mitsrayim in a distance of 40 days' journey, right? So listen, right? That's why you have to have the Ruach HaKodesh. Now I'm gonna throw some things at you, right? Right? Because listen. The Ruach of Yahuah will cause an angel to come and pick you up and take you out of prison.
Just like Peter.
Drop you off.
Yeah.
Drop you off unconscious. Listen. When you are restricted and you are on your knees in the witness of Yahuah, and Yahuah is Ruach is in you, he will deliver you supernaturally if you cannot deliver yourself.
Hallelujah.
But with the witness, being born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh, you have the ability to free yourself, move yourself, because you have the Ruach to lead you. He says, let's go on. And thus say Yahuah Elohim to the and Aaron, and Aaron, his brother, alone remained in the land of Mitsrayim in Goshen. And what did he do? And he prophesied to the children of Yashar'el.
So by Aaron alone, it's really stating Aaron was alone, like not just without his brother, but he was the only one left walking in Torah amongst all the children of.
Yes, and he was prophesying. What did he say? Thus saith Yahuah Elohim of your ancestors, right? Throw away each man his abomination of his eyes, and do not defile yourselves with the idols of Mitsrayim, right? And the children of Yashar'el rebelled, right? So Moshe, 18 years old, they weren't ready for deliverance.
Yeah. They was too comfortable.
They were too comfortable.
Too comfortable in their subjugation. Yeah, they were too comfortable.
They was feeling it. It was okay. We don't mind these elves of Mitsrayim.
We love these meat pots. These meat, they.
We love these people, right? So he says, and the children of Yashar'el rebelled and would not hearken unto Aaron at the time, right? And Yahuah thought to destroy them, were it not that Yahuah remembered the covenant that he made with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Now let's go back. Go back to Hebrews, where we left off. 8, the 9th verse. He says, and not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand and led them out of Mitsrayim, because they did not continue in my covenant. Right? Yahuah says, I'm not taking them out of Mitsrayim, even though they don't keep my covenant, and I'm not taking them out and bringing them into a place where I can weed them out again. He said, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not. Say, now listen. Now, Moshe went to Pharaoh. He preached. He told Pharaoh what Yahuah said. The people heard what Yahuah said. Right? Now, when Yahuah, because Yahuah was judging Pharaoh in their gods, because the judgment of Pharaoh in his gods was as important to Yashar'el as it was to the Mitsrayim. See, because Yahuah had to show them that he was a lure over the elves of Mitsrayim, because the Hebrews that were in Mitsrayim were still serving the elves. But Yahuah made a promise to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So he had to bring them out. So when he sent Moshe, he would send Moshe after having Moshe heard. He said, listen, I've heard the groanings of my people.
Yeah.
I've heard the groanings, right? Right. And he heard, and it ain't said nothing about repentance. I've heard the groaning of my people. He ain't heard nothing. He ain't heard anything about him saying that my people were repenting.
Yeah. Right.
I never heard that, but I heard the groanings. Right. And Moshe, I think it's time for you to go and tell Pharaoh, and I'm gonna demonstrate to Pharaoh, and I'm gonna demonstrate to the children of Israel that I am Yahuah Zabaoth. I'm the Yahuah, the host. I am going to destroy every El in Mitsrayim. I am going to topple the economy. I am going to topple the country, the nation, the Pharaoh.
Everything.
So Moshe goes and does what he tells him to do, right? Then Yahuah says, now you tell the people, because I'm sending a death angel. Death angel is coming. What they need to do is they need to take a lamb. And he said nothing about repenting for sin. He said they need to take a lamb, one without spot or blemish, on behalf of him and his family, because it's innocent blood. Take innocent blood, sprinkle it upon the doorpost, and when the death angel comes, he's going to see the blood of the innocent lamb on the doorpost. And he's going to know to pass by. Right? He's not going to come in. It ain't got nothing to do with their hearts being changed. It ain't got nothing to do with them serving the Most High Yahuah with their whole hearts. It had everything to do with an atonement or a blood offering of an innocent lamb that was put on the wall. Right? So, because listen, he says, they continue not in my covenant. Well, Aaron was like, listen, you need to repent and turn from these elves and obey what your ancestors have taught you, what you have learned from your forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Right? We need to keep Yahuah's word. Yahuah said, this I ain't doing it like this again. I'm not bringing these people out like I did in the day that I led them out of Mitsrayim. And when I brought them out, They rebelled and complained and rebelled and complained and rebelled and complained to the point where I had to let a whole generation die out. They wanted to continue to seek Els to the point that they told Aaron to make them an El because they ain't seen Moshe in 40 days. I had to kill 3,000 of them at that time. It ain't happening like that again. And you know, there's this idea, there's this teaching that Yahuah is just going to gather everybody and take them out. He gonna take us all out of the United States of America, everybody. Then he gonna bring us into a wilderness, right, where he gonna weed out the rebels. What? Yahuah said, I ain't doing that.
No, sir.
Now this is the only thing that changed, right, in reference to Yahuah's covenant.
Mm-hmm.
The change occurred because of what he's done to man.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The change occurred because of what he has put in man. So he says, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Yashar'el after those days, saith Adonai. I will put my Torah into their hearts, right? And their mind.
Thank you, Robert.
I will put their Torahs in their.
I'll put their Torah in their mind and write it in their hearts.
Write it in their hearts. Right? I will put it in their minds and I'll write it in their hearts. Right? I will put it in their minds and I will write it in their hearts. Right? Let's look at this. He says here, YIRMEYAHU 31 and 33. He said, and this shall be the covenant Jeremiah 30, 31, and 33. Right? He said, and this shall be the covenant that I will cut with the house of Yashar'el after those days, saith Yahuah. I will put my Torah in their inner parts, and I will write them in their hearts, and will be their Elohiym, and they shall be my people. So the only people that Yahuah is calling his, and those people who he has put his name in his heart in. He's put his name in their hearts, and he's wrote the Torah on their hearts. Right? Go ahead.
There's a verse I want to show you real quick because Mosai showed me this in Yeshayahu, right? Like right along these lines. He says, and there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Yeshi, and a branch shall grow out of his root. So out of the stem of Yeshi means a stump. He done cut the tree down. He done cut the tree down. So you don't even got like so the idea that he gonna put everybody understand. Now I don't kill all them off. I'm not doing that again.
Yes,
ain't nothing but a stump.
This ain't happening again. This ain't happening again, right? He is not 33.
Yeah, I got you.
But this shall be the covenant that I will cut with the house of Yashar'el after those days, saith Yahuah. I will put my Torah in their inward parts, and I'll write them in their hearts, and I will be their Elohiym, and they shall be my people. Right? Let's look at this one. Jeremiah, go to the 32nd chapter, 40th verse. He says, and I will cut an everlasting covenant with them, and I will not turn away from them and do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts that they shall not depart from me. Right? They shall not depart from me. I am going to give them an everlasting covenant. Listen, the only way that you can receive an everlasting covenant is through the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. The only way that you can receive an everlasting covenant is through faith in Hamashiach's witness, the Ruach HaKodesh, the water, and the blood. That is the covenant, right? That's the covenant, right? Let's go to Ezekiel 11 and 19. Ezekiel 11 and 19. He says, and I will give them one heart, right? And I will put a new ruach within you, right? And I will take the stony heart out of their flesh, and I will give them a heart of flesh, right? That they may walk in my statutes and guard my ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohiym, right? I will be their Elohiym. But as for them whose hearts walk in their hearts of their detestable things and their abominations, I will recompense their ways upon their own head, saith Adonai Yahushua. You have to be in his witness.
Ain't bringing them out.
He ain't bringing nobody out. He ain't doing it. He ain't doing it. Ezekiel 36 and 26. You know this. Ezekiel 36 and 26. A new heart will I give you, and a new ruach will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my, which is his Ruach HaKodesh, I will put my Ruach HaKodesh, within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall guard my judgments to do them. Right? So this is and this is something that he has done for us in the witness. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. He says, for as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistle, the witness of Hamashiach Yahusha, right, ministers, by us, written not with ink, but with the Ruach HaKodesh of the living Elohiym, not of tables of stone, but on fleshly tables of the heart, right? He says, for such trust have we through Mashiach to Elohiym Adonai towards, or Adonai towards, right? Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think as of ourselves, but sufficiency is in Elohiym, right? Who also has made us able ministers, right, of a renewed covenant, right? See, we have taken on something renewed, right? For not of the letter, right? Not of the letter, but of the Ruach HaKodesh, for the letter kills, but the Ruach HaKodesh gives life. The letter of Torah
kills the ungodly.
Yeah, kills the ungodly. Right? It kills those who don't have the Ruach. Right? So you have to have Yahuwah's Ruach. Right? He says here, he says, but if the ministration of death, right, written and engraved in stone, was glorious, so that the children of Yashar'el could not steadfastly behold the face of Moshe for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away with. The glory that Moshe had didn't last, right? It wasn't lasting, right? Verse 8, how shall not the ministration of the Ruach HaKodesh, and I don't know why they play with this Ruach thing, man. I don't understand why they go from capital letters to lowercase letters, and they mess with it.
Yeah.
The ministration of the Ruach HaKodesh be greater and glorious, right? For if the ministration of condemnation, right, because you couldn't keep Torah, your heart was desperately wicked, your sin consciousness prevented you from doing right. When Yahuah took them out of their hands, by their hands out of Egypt, he took them out and they couldn't do right. He didn't take them out of Egypt because they were like, we sinned against you, we sinned against you, we forget our forefathers, have mercy on us. No. They was just groaning and agonizing. Because Moshe was 18 years old when they left. He returned when he was 70. That's 50 years. And you know the weight became heavier. Right? The taskmaster became heavier. The pressure came heavier. But there was no turning to Yahuah. They wasn't turning to the law, statutes, and commandments. They weren't turning to what their fathers had said. He took them out of Egypt, and he led them by the hand. And they got before the mountain, and he had to destroy them. You know, they complained about manna. They complained about Moshe's leadership. They complained about Aaron's leadership. He had to kill them.
They complained about
everything. Going over to the promised land. He had to kill him. Come on, man. Listen. He is not taking us by the hand. Listen. If you ain't born again in this water and this Ruach HaKodesh, listen, you stuck. Because you know what? If you have the Yahuah's Ruach HaKodesh, you are going to hear his voice, and he's going to tell you when to go. And I'm going to tell you like this, and I tell it, this is what I said too. If you have it to flee Babylon, and you have Yahuah's Ruach, you better get out of here. Because you ain't necessarily got to have him tell you to flee, because he already told you to flee. He ain't got to tell you, I'm going to speak to you, because he's speaking to you already by his Ruach HaKodesh. Right, so why would I allow myself to disobey the Ruach of Yahuah when I know what he says? Right? So he ain't taking us by the hand, right? He's not doing it, right? So when we go back, matter of fact, let me make sure I got all the scriptures that I got that I want to get. Let's look at well, of course you're gonna look at Ephesians. Let's look at Ephesians 1. Ephesians 1, and let's go down to, let me see. Oh, matter of fact, let's go ahead. Let's stay here. Right up for. Let's go first. Let's start at the first verse. Shaul, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach by the will of Elohiym, the Kodashim which are in Ephesus, and to the faithful in HaMashiach Yahushua, right? Grace be to you and peace from Adonai Abba and of Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach, Elohiym, our Abba, and from Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach. Blessed be Elohiym, our Abba, of Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach, who has blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places. Yeah. Now he's talking to a people, right, who has already received the witness. because they're in Hamashiach,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if they're in Hamashiach, then they've already received the Ruach.
Yeah.
He has blessed us with spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Hamashiach, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundations of the world, right? That we should be holy and without blame. We should be Kodesh and without blame before him. Now listen. In this conscious state of sin, that nature kept us constantly blamed because we couldn't keep Torah. We was always wrong. We would never be right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We would never be right because sin consciousness that we received from Adam worked against Torah. It worked against Torah. Atonement, innocent blood being offered on behalf of Yahuwah's people, right? Provided them the covering that carried them to Hamashiach.
Yeah.
Listen, that's why everybody who's died prior to Hamashiach had to receive and hear Hamashiach's word. They have to. Listen. Everything has to accept this witness, right? You know, even the elders, because you had people that were blameless and kept Torah, right? And they were blameless before Yahuwah and kept Torah because they kept Torah, but they kept Torah under an atonement. You ain't blameless because you keep Torah. You blameless because you keep Torah and you are under an atonement.
Yeah. It's the faith. It's the faith
You understand
that they talk about in Hebrews. It's the faith that they talk about in Hebrews. That you had to believe.
Yes.
You had to, one, believe that the Torah was righteous. You had to, two, believe that if it's righteous, I'm going to strive to keep it. And when I fall, I had to believe in this atonement that he gave me. You had to believe that. That's the faith. That's the faith. This is how I love and please the Most High. And if I mess up, this is how I have a covering. And that is the faith that Paul says and Shaul says in Hebrew, that they didn't mix into the berserah that was preached to them.
Yes.
But it only covered you and brought you to Hamashiach, the eternal atonement.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. He says, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundations of the world, that we should be holy, Kodesh, because at the foundations of the world, when he had established Adam and Havah, they were holy and Kodesh, and they was without blame because they was perfect, right? Before him in love, having predetermined, right? Having already made the decision to provide us Yeshua to be children of Yahuwah by Yahushua Hamashiach to himself according to the good pleasure of his will. It's because he did this, to be to the praise of his glory, wherein we may be accepted, right? We are made accepted in the beloved, right? In whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins. We have redemption. He has purchased us, right? Look at this. Let's give it a definition. Redemption is the act or process of redeeming, right? Right? Redemption, or the word redeem, right? It is to purchase, to buy back, to get or to win back. Right? You shall won us back. Right? To free from what distressed or harm. Right? This is Merriam-Webster.
Mm-hmm.
To free from captivity by payment. See, that's why we ain't in Mitsrayim no more. Oh, now you gotta stay with me now. That's why we ain't in the house of bondage. That's why we're not in Mitsrayim. That's why we're not in bondage. That's why we're not in captivity. The payment has been paid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right? See, we still have the mindset of captivity, waiting for Yahuah to pull us out. When he's done everything we need to get the job done in him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He says to extricate from or help to overcome something. Listen, Yahuah's like, look, I'm going to put my Ruach HaKodesh in you. It's going to cause you to keep my laws, statutes, and commandments. You are going to be my son. You're going to be my daughter. Right? My seed is in you. You are going to know when to go, when not to go. You're going to know where to go. You're going to know it all because the Ruach HaKodesh is going to reveal it to you. The Ruach HaKodesh is already revealed to some people, and they don't want to the continent. Right? They're gone already. Right? You got people that have left the United Snakes of America. Listen, United Snakes of America is having a mass exodus of people. I was watching it. Why are many Americans leaving the United Snakes of America? And you know what? Listen. These are these Gentiles that know that this economy ain't gonna. They getting out.
Yeah.
They leaving. They going to a different country. But see, we bruise, right? We don't want to receive the witness, right? We don't want to understand the necessity of having the Ruach HaKodesh. See, because that's what really delivers you from slavery. That's what delivers you from the captivity. That is what's going to cause you to know and to flee, to move, to go, to do everything that Yahuah said to do. Right? To release from blame or debt. To free from the consequences of sin. To change for the better. To repair, to restore, to reform. So as the children of Yashar'el, right? Yahuah's done this for us, right? Having made known to the praise of his glory, wherein he has made us acceptable in the beloved, and whom also we have redemption through his blood. That's why the atonement of Yahushua Mashiach is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hear a lot of stuff on TikTok talking about how Jesus and the Bible are not true, and it's like throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just, and there's so much confusion. There's so many voices, right? There's so much coming in. That's why you have to have this Ruach HaKodesh. Because my sheep hear my voice, and another, they ain't gonna follow.
Right.
They ain't gonna follow, right? So he says redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sin, right? right? The removal of sin consciousness. And you know what, man? When I was a sinner, there wasn't this feeling of right and wrong. It was just whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it worked for me. It worked for me. Whatever I wanted to do, it worked for me. You know, it worked. But when Yahuah's Ruach came in and dwelled with me, I knew when it was wrong. And I knew I wasn't supposed to do it. And I repented. Right? And that redemptive work, right, continued with me as long as I remained and continued to seek Yahuah from a sincere heart and repent. See, that's the difference, man. This Yeshua, man, this renewed covenant, this puts it in you. You know, it's that governor. It's that thing that makes you understand and do what is right. You know, and it isn't that Yahuah doesn't know that we're going to fail at times, because he knows that there are things that we're going to do at times that we don't even know, because we ain't got there yet. Right? We ain't even got there yet. Yahuah knew that I was repentant and I was in righteousness, you know, but he knew that tomorrow I was going to get in this situation and get confronted and go fly off the handle. Right? He knew it. Right? I was going to sin, you know, not because I'm not saying that I did, but what I'm showing you is that Yahuah already knows.
Yeah.
Right? But he also knows that in that time, I'm going to identify my sin and I'm going to confess my sin. And Yahushua HaMashiach's atonement is going to be sufficient for my sins.
Yeah.
Right? Because his sacrifice replaced the need for me to go and offer bulls and other animals repetitively because of my nature.
Mm-hmm.
So here he says, wherein he has abounded towards us in all wisdom and prudence, right? Having made known to us the mysteries of his will. How did he do that? By his Ruach HaKodesh. How do we understand? Because he's given us the Ruach of Yahuah, the Ruach of wisdom, the Ruach of understanding, the Ruach of wisdom, counsel, might, and the fear of Yahuah. Mm-hmm. He's giving you his Ruachs. He's giving you the Ruach HaKodesh. The Ruach HaKodesh is that which reveals his will. His will is Torah, right? His will is Torah. When Yahuah says in Torah, flee Babylon, that's his will.
Yeah.
When he says depart Babylon, that's his will, right? When he says escape from, that's his will. That's just what he says. That's what he expects. He says, having made known to us the mysteries of his will, you know, according to his good pleasure, which he purposed in himself, he decided to do it. That in the stewardship of the fullness of time, he might gather in one all things in a Mashiach. He's establishing righteousness from an everlasting plan. And the plan is Yahushua HaMashiach. Mm-hmm. And we are established in him. If we produce fruit, we continue. If we get pruned, and he makes more fruit. If we don't, he cut us off because we ain't we're useless, right? He says, also, in whom also we have obtained an inheritance, being predetermined according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. Scroll that up.
Yeah.
Right? That we should be to the praise of his glory, who first, because Paul's talking about them being the first, right? After Hamashiach, right? Them being the first who trusted in Hamashiach, right? And whom also you trusted, right? After that, you heard the word of truth, the Basora of your Yeshua, and whom also after that ye believed, you were sealed.
Hallelujah.
With the Ruach HaKodesh promise, right? The Ruach HaKodesh promise is your seal, right? Which is the down payment, the earnest of your inheritance until the redemption, right, of the purchased possession. Now, you're redeemed already, right? You're redeemed already. But he is going to take everybody at the appointed time and put us in one place, right? That's the redemptive work. That's the every knee bow and every tongue swearing. Mm-hmm. That's having put down all his enemies, right? That's the redemptive work, right? He says, which is the earnest of his inheritance, the redemption of his purchase, unto the praise of his glory. Wherefore also, after I heard of your emunah and Adonai Yahusha, and a love unto all the Kodeshim, cease not to give thanks for you, making mention of you in your prayers, that the Elohiym, the Eluah of our Adonai Yahusha, the Father of glory, Abba of glory, may give to you the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Ruach Chorniki with Vadazon, with Ruach HaKodesh of wisdom, revelation, with revelation, and the knowledge of him, right? The Ruach of Yahuah will bring wisdom and revelation, because that's what the Ruach does. He says, in the knowledge of him, the eyes of your understanding be enlightened, that you may know what is the hope of his calling, and what the riches of the glory of an inheritance are in the saints, and what the exceeding greatness is of his power to usward who believe, his dunamos, his exousia, his power that's to us, the greatness of his power that is to usward or in us, right? According to the working of his mighty power, which he wrought when he raised Hamashiach from the dead and set him at his own right hand in heavenly places, far above all principalities and mights and dominions and every name that is named, not only in this world, but also in that which is to come. And having put all things under his feet, and gave him to be the power over all things to the assembly, to the called out assembly, which is his body, the fullness of him that is filleth all in all. Go to the next chapter, right? Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. And you have he made alive, who were dead in your sins. That's your forefathers. Your forefathers he had to lead out of Mitsrayim, because they didn't have his ruach. They weren't actually his they were his by a sworn oath to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Right? They belonged to him as his people because of a sworn oath that he made for Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. We are his people because of what Yahushua HaMashiach's done to bring forth a birth, a quickening, a made aliveness that is in this witness. And because we are, then we are his. He says, for in times past he walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the Ruach that now worketh in the children of disobedience. That's our forefathers. Mm-hmm. That's everybody outside the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. That's everybody that won't hear his voice. That's everyone who will not obey. among whom also we had our conversations in time past in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of our flesh and of the mind, and were by our very nature children of wrath. That's everybody that is not in the witness. That is everybody that is not born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh. That is everyone that is going to remain in Babylon. Right? But Elohiym, who is rich in mercy, wherewith he great love, he loved us, even when we were dead, right? Without hope. He gave us life together with Hamashiach. We're saved by grace. He says, and has raised us up. He has raised us up together and made us sit together in the Shamayim and Hamashiach, that in the age to come he may show the riches of his grace and his kindness towards us through Hamashiach Yahusha. Right? So let's go over to First Yehukanan. First Yehukanan, I think it's the 3rd chapter. Right? He says, starting at verse, behold, what manner of love that Abba has bestowed upon us, that we should be called sons of Elohiym. Therefore, the world know us not, because they know him not, or they knew him not. There's a distinction between us and them. We are the children of Yahuah Elohai, right? We are sons and daughters of Yahusha, right? We're sons and daughters of Yahuah. Beloved, now are we the sons of Elohiym. We sons now, right? He says, now we the sons of Elohiym. It does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Now, when he appears, we going to appear like him in a moment, in a second, in a twinkling of an eye. We're going to be changed, right? But right now, what we have is an earnest. Right now, what we have is what we have in Emunah. Right now, what we have is we have to walk in obedience in Torah, and we got to be led by the Ruach HaKodesh. We have to have an ear to hear what the Ruach is saying when he says to us, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Beloved, now we the sons of Elohiym, and it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that has this hope in himself, in him, purifies himself even as he is pure, right? He kodeshes himself. He sets himself apart. He do those things that keeps his temple righteous before Yahuwah. He does those things that keep him in Torah, right? Whosoever committeth sins transgress Torah, for sin is a transgression of Torah. Know ye, and ye know that ye know that he was manifested to take away our sin, and in him is no sin, right? Whosoever abides in sin, or whoever remains continues and dwells in sin, don't know you, because they are of their nature. They're of their father Hasatan. They can't do good, right? So you don't know him, right? So let's go all the way back to Hebrews, 3rd chapter. Then we're gonna bring it to a close.
We're going to the 3rd chapter,
right?
All right.
No, Hebrews the 9th chapter. I mean, 8th chapter.
8th chapter. Okay, got you.
Yeah, where we started. He says, the 8th chapter, the 10th verse. He says, for this is the covenant, right? Yahushua HaMashiach's witness, being born again, believing and receiving the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Making us sons and daughters. This is the covenant that I will make with the house of Yashar'el after those days, saith Adonai. Excuse me. I will put my Torah into their heart, their minds, and I'll write them in their hearts, and I will be to them an Elohiym, and they shall be unto me a people, right? And they shall not teach every man his neighbor, right? Saying, know Yahuah. For all shall know me from the least to the greatest, right? Now he's talking about those that are in this witness, that are born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. He's talking about everybody. He's talking about the people that he's written into their hearts.
Yes.
Right? You ain't got to have to teach them no more, every man to know his neighbor, and every brother saying, know ye Adonai, because you know what? We all have been born again of the water and the Ruach HaKodesh. We all have his word in our hearts and in our minds. We ain't got to teach nobody, we ain't got to teach them to know Yahuah, right? Because they're going to know from the least to the greatest. He says, for I will be merciful unto their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. Why? Because the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach cleanses us and purges us from all unrighteousness and filth. Right? Yahuwah's covenant with us is an everlasting covenant. It's an everlasting covenant that fadeth not away. And in that he saith, a new covenant he hath made, the first old, right? So the original covenant had to be renewed, right? It had to, because it had amendments. The amendment was the priesthood in the high priest.
Yep.
The amendment was the sacrifice.
Yeah.
The lamb, right? The offering. Those were the amendments, which had to change because it set in motion a whole new experience in Torah.
Yeah.
Because now it's in you.
Yeah, that part. Like it changes, but it doesn't change. The structure was when he brought them out of Mitsrayim, he cleansed them with water and blood and hyssop. They had to wash, clean their flesh, and clean their clothes. They had to present themselves. They had to accept what was being said and receive it.
Yeah.
And then they had to have Torah given to them, right? And so, but the Most High does the exact same process, but it does it in our hearts as opposed to on the tablets of stone. You know, because they had tablets of stone and stony hearts. He did away with all. He did away with that. And we had to go. We had to get in the water, receive the witness, receive the Ruach HaKodesh, have His word written upon have Torah written upon our hearts. It's a better covenant. It's a better covenant.
That's it.
It's the covenant that Moshe desired. Moshe cried out. He said, I wish that the Ruach HaKodesh should fall upon all of Yashar'el, because he knew I don't stand a chance of making it without it.
Exactly. Y'all, and you know what? They ain't gonna stand a chance of escaping Babylon.
No.
Listen, they ain't gonna escape Babylon. You're not going to escape Babylon. The only way to escape Babylon is to be in this witness. I can't, man. You know what I'm telling you, man. That's why Yahuah does everything well, man. He does everything well. You know what I mean? Even down to a word. You know, a word. He told me to cry loud and spare not, to lift up my voice like a trumpet in Zion. Tell my people that they must be in this witness. They must be born again of the water of the Ruach HaKodesh. They got to understand that their hearts got to be established first in me. They got to understand that they got to be my sons and my daughters, right? And then what that's going to do is that's going to deliver them from bondage. They're not going to be slaves to Mitsrayim anymore. Now, what they're going to need to do is they need to understand it's time to leave Babylon. And you know, Yahuah knows exactly when to bring it to pass. You listen, man. Yahuah knows exactly how to deliver a word, right? He knows how to deliver a word. Listen, you know, when you was telling me when we was talking on that one lesson when you were talking about the prophet Isaiah, I think you said it was, that prophesied for over 40 years, and there was a series of 4 kings, right? He prophesied through 4 kings, the reign of 4 different kings, right? And I think that sum was well over 40 years. Anyway, his message was the same.
Yeah.
You know, his message was the same. His message was to cry aloud, to spare not. He had to tell the people what he told them. You know, and Yahuah's like, this is what, you know, and it's crazy, man, because I say to myself, Yahuah, man, listen, you ain't got nothing else you need to say sometimes to people. You know?
Nah, stick to the script. Script ain't changed. Script.
I was like, you know,
But you know why? That in itself is fulfillment of scripture, because scripture talks about those who have itching ears. You know, they're always looking for a new word, always looking for something new,
right?
About something. Nah, get your heart right with the Most High through Hamashiach. Have a new mind, a new heart. Flee Babylon. Simple.
Because that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, that's why we get the witness. I mean, that's why he gives us the witness where we are, because we're not in bondage. Man, we ain't in bondage. Listen, man, you can leave from Connecticut, fly to California. You know, you can go wherever you want to. You can actually go over to Africa. You can go to Ghana. You go wherever you want to go. Right? You can go. You know, once you get there, you know the steps that you got to take once you get there. You know, to get your citizenship and all that stuff. But you can go. It ain't like you can't go.
Yeah.
So the bondage has to be a freedom from sin and sin consciousness, and an elevation to sons and daughters by his Ruach HaKodesh. And understand that comes with power and authority. Understand that comes with insight and wisdom and understanding. Understand that this book is about you, and you got to fulfill prophecy. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes Hebrews they read scriptures and they're like, oh, you know, man, and my forefathers, dude, that's you. You got to do that. You know, you got to listen to what Shaul said. You got to listen to what Yahudah said. You got to listen to what Yahushua said. You know what I'm saying? You listen, man. Yahushua told the disciples. He told them the disciples. Yahushua was talking about some things. He's talking about the temple. The disciples actually came to Yahushua. Said, look, the temple, you beautiful temple. You know, look how beautiful temple is. Yahushua said, look at it. Ain't gonna start stone. Ain't gonna one stone gonna be left unturned.
Get caught up in this mess.
Right. And then he went on to expound onto him. He said, listen, well, you know, listen, you know, you better be ready to flee Jerusalem. Because when you see certain things happening, you need to get out of Dodge. That's what he told the apostles. Now the apostles preach Yahushua Mashiach, and though they never say anything else about what he has said to them, he said he's going to bring all things to their remembrance. And I'm sure he taught these people, listen, this is going to happen. Yahushua said it. You need to trust him, because when it comes time to flee Jerusalem, you better go.
Well, we know they did, because we have the 4 accounts. It says written all 4 accounts of the Bezorah. You know,
but here, right? But check this out, right? He didn't take them by the hand.
Nah.
He didn't take over 3 million people by the hand and let them out. Telling you. And the people who received the word had a revelation of the witness. And if they didn't have a revelation of the witness, they had enough sense to know the people that did have the revelation to leave with them.
Yeah.
You know, you know, they had enough sense to leave with them. You know, so at the end of the day, man, we got to flee Babylon.
Yeah.
Right. And it's no secret. You know, it's, you know, I mean, he says it over and over and over and over again. You know, and it was crazy because, you know, I was saying, but you know, even as I was bringing this message for it, I was like, well, you know, what about the whole Mitsrayim thing, you know? And, you know, that you know, I mean, we in the wilderness now, right? We, you know, I mean, you know, I understand, you know. And then when you brought in Hebrews the 8th chapter, right? The lesson that you brought, Yahuah dropped it in my spirit. Remember at the beginning of the lesson?
Yeah.
When you was reading Hebrews? I'm like, oh, damn, that's it, Yahuah. That's it. It was like a light. It was like the Ruach of wisdom and revelation revealing.
Oh, yeah.
He revealed it at that point. And I was like, yes, okay, I understand you. Understand? Okay, I understand. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we supposed to flee. You ain't taking us like that no more. You know, you did that because our forefathers, they was wicked. And they was still wicked when you took them out of Mitsrayim. You know what I'm saying? They was wicked, right? Because the prepared sacrifice from the foundation of the earth wasn't yet. That wasn't yet. You had to bring a people to a place where they recognized what they did, what they were not to do, and even allowing them to continue to do it over and over again to the point where he finally had to bring a judgment. That was all necessary for us to learn, to know what not to do, so that when the time comes when he reveals Yahushua Mashiach and we understand the value of this witness. That's why, you know, I started saying to myself, man, you know, how come we don't see signs following? These signs shall follow. Yahushua said it. You know, Yahushua said it. These signs shall follow them believe. And everybody skips them. You know, it's like everybody skips these works of the Ruach HaKodesh. They just skip them.
Yeah.
You know, they be like, oh, well, I ain't praying for nobody to be healed. I ain't laying hands on nobody. I ain't casting out no devils. I ain't exercising dominion in the arrest and allowing you to exercise dominion in the earth. And we ain't, you know, ain't nobody doing it. You know, it's so far and few between. You be like, look, man, we in this witness. Something still has to be done.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, there's something that still has to be done. I was listening to Barack Abar. What's his name?
Oh,
Abar?
Barack Abar?
Barack Abar.
Yeah.
He was talking about the days. And he's like, it's 500, 5,000, such days, you know. And, you know, when you consider, and when I listen to that song, I'm like, oh, okay. You know, now if your days are right, if your days are right, that we got 7,000 is completion, right? So if you want to look at it in terms of time, it's 7,000. It's 7,000. Seven is the perfect number, right? Yeah. 7 is Yahuwah's number, right? When we reach 7, it's complete, right? It's complete. It's not complete at 6. You know, 7th is the day of rest. 7 is completion, right? So when you think about it, right, Babylon has to be destroyed. The prophecies talk about the other nations beholding her and mourning her. It talks about Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. I'm talking about the daughter of Babylon. You got Babylon, then you got the daughter of Babylon. The daughter of Babylon has to suffer a judgment, right? Because of the wickedness that she has done to his people. Babylon was wicked towards the people, but Babylon, the daughter, she's just wicked to everybody. I mean, she was wicked to the Native Americans. She was wicked to us. Every place she went in America, she was wicked, right? And she's still wicked. Her CIA and her FBI and, you know, their covert missions. They kill presidents and put up puppets. I mean, that's wicked.
I had an Arab. He's Arab, but he was my driver coming from the airport, and he was like, "There's no such thing as the Middle East. I'm African, right?" And he was like, "I love Somalia." He showed me pictures of the beaches in Somalia, and they're the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen. And you would never see it. You know, we get it over here with starving children with air bellies and flies. And he was like, that's because he said that's because this country right here came and disrupted and destroyed the country. He said, but they use all the beautiful parts to do business. Yeah. And no matter where they go, they had a plan to destroy, disrupt, and then take advantage of. That's just that's wherever they go and anywhere they go, any continent. That's just
cockroaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, you know, listen, man, that's pretty much it.
Man, that's the word.
You know, I mean, only people that's going to escape Babylon is those who hear his voice.
Yeah.
Only people that are going to know to leave Babylon is those who hear his voice. You know, and those who are led by the Ruach HaKodesh. Because you know what, man? At the end of the day, there's still time. Because listen. This Besorah has to be preached. It's got to be preached in this age. Not Jesus, not Christianity, not Sunday Sabbath. This Besorah, right? This Besorah has to be preached on the continent. This Besorah still has to be preached. Man, I see us being on the continent, right? Developing the nations, right? And holding meetings in different places on the continent, preaching the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach with signs following.
Hallelujah.
I'm serious. I mean, I'm talking about signs following. I'm talking about going into some of these areas, these tribes, you know, preaching the word and having people come up blind, having people come up and laying hands on them and watching who will do his thing. Man, listen. You know, I look at, you know, these dudes in these documentaries, right? They never take the documentaries physically and present them in areas where our people are. Heck, if you need a translator, you get a translator. You know, why can't you go to a place, right? Establish contact with somebody, right? And begin to, look, man, get a permit, put it in the park, show it on national television, let people watch it, then have conversations, and then pray for people who want to be born again. You know, I mean, it's crazy because, you know, I mean, like,
I say this, being mindful all of our limitations and you know, but
Right, I hear you.
I mean, like sometimes it's hard. Well, I think for some it's hard because we get caught in the weeds, man. We get caught in the weeds. You got people who saying, "Oh, they not Shemitic." You know, they don't believe that the seed of Yaakov is necessarily on the continent. I mean, like the people, I tell you, those are Hamites. You know, and they get caught up in who, and that's even with you know, like the some of these documentaries, like Ron, you know, Ron Dalton, don't believe necessarily that all these other nations over there are part. But this is what but the thing is this: they've all been lied to.
Right.
They've all been lied to. I don't, you know, they've all been lied to. Like they've even been given a white man's Christianity or Arab man's Islam. They don't got the truth. Yeah. Right. And a lot of them are the 10 tribes that have been scattered throughout the continent. A lot of them are.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
They have the right to be grafted in. We always thinking we were talking about some grafted in Gentiles, only looking at Europeans. No, we got let's go. Like, man, one law,
exactly,
one Yeshua, all people. That's it.
That's it, man. That's what I'm telling you, man. That's why, you know, at the end of the day, it's got to be about the witness. You know, at the end of the day, it's got to be about the witness. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, man, this Besorah must be preached.
Hallelujah.
You know, it must be preached. You know, and you know, again, like I said, you know, the information is good, right? But at the end of the day, listen, man, you must be born again of the water and of the Ruach HaKodesh. I ain't talking about Jesus. I ain't talking about Christianity. I'm talking about Yahusha, Hamashiach.
Paul said,
I'm talking about Yahuah.
Shaul said, you know, I don't come to you with eloquent words. So the information is good, but
Right.
but that ain't. Nah, I come with you with power. I come to you in power, right. And that is how we gotta come to the continent is in power, in the power of the Ruach HaKodesh. Like you gonna see something. He's like, I don't got words of eloquence, man. I got power. You're gonna see something. You're gonna see the hand of the Most High move in your life.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
And I take and I believe that has to happen. That has to happen. That's the message of the kingdom. That's the message of the kingdom. And this Besorah must be preached. This Besorah must be preached. This message of the kingdom must be preached. Then the end gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then the end's gonna come. Doesn't mean that Yahuah has a judgment for Babylon. It doesn't mean Yahuah don't have plagues that he gonna continue to rain down. Listen, he said, Yahushua said, when you see these things happen, it's just the beginning of birth pains.
Okay.
Just the beginning, earthquakes, just the beginning of birth pains, right? Tsunamis, tidal waves, just the beginning. You know, just the beginning. Nation rising up against nation, right? Kingdom against kingdom, right? Right? There has to be an order change. There has to be when you look at what's happening, it's all about this. See, this wicked whore has to be put down because she's at the root of the problem. Babylon is at the root of the problem. Babylon is causing problems with United Snakes. I mean, United Snakes is with Ukrainian and Russia and UN. United Snakes is causing problems with Germany, with Africa, and Haiti. You know, I mean,
all these agreements screwed up South America, Central America. They've caused havoc on the world.
All over. See, and this whore has to go down, right? So Babylon has to be destroyed. You have to flee Babylon. because it's a part of the puzzle, but it's not the end game. Babylon and the United Snakes falling is not the end game.
Yeah.
This Messiah still got to be preached. I mean, this word still has to go out, man. And if the witness is not, if this gospel being preached, this Messiah being preached, is not what we've seen in Christianity, then look, we got to recoup everything that we had before it became dark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's why in that 7th week, at the end of that 7th week, it says, "In righteousness is going to come from an everlasting plan of righteousness," right? And that righteousness is going to come, and that witness is going to be preached because people are going to hear it. And then what's going to happen is there's going to be a sword that's going to be given to the righteous, right? Then Yahudah will be on the neck of his enemies. But I'm telling you, man, this witness must be preached, man. This is it. So we got exit stage left, Babylon. And I told my wife, I said, "Look, babe, we got to go. We leaving. We leaving." She gave me that look. I said, "Well, no, we leaving." I give you that look. Well, I'm leaving. And don't let me get some money because I'm like, look, I'm gonna go over, make sure it's set up. Me, Maki, and come over. We're gonna get it set up, squared away. You can continue to bust rocks here if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you need to do here, but we going over.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. That's the plan. And when we go over, we gonna go over. We gonna get what we can set up business, because I think in most of these countries you're gonna have to have a business in order to build anything on that land, right? So, because I think it's in Tanzania, because again, I'm thinking Tanzania too, man. I'm thinking, Tanzania, Ghana. I like Ghana, but I ain't gotta go to Ghana. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ain't gotta be there.
Man, I just got invited to Ghana. I just got invited to Ghana to go to Ghana in September. I just got invited yesterday. So I'm gonna go over there and check Ghana out.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. They just invited
September
me.
when?
I don't know. I gotta do a bunch of applications. They had invited me to go last year, but my parole status, but it wasn't messing with me. So now that I'm off papers, they immediately the other day they said, "Yo, fill the application out again. We want to take you over there for like 7 to 8 days." So I'm gonna go over there and
That's good, man.
You know what I mean? Do a little scouting. Go over there and do some scouting, man. I know where I want to go.
Well,
I know where they want to go, but I know where I want to go. They want to go over there and tap in. Listen, they be talking to me about, "Oh, the ancestors. How you feel about the ancestors?" I be like, "Man, them people dead, man." Let the dead bury the dead, man. Like, I don't get it. Oh, we gonna let the ancestors in? I'll be over here while y'all over here bugging, because I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, man. Like, ancestors.
Got
it twisted. You want to let them in?
Yeah.
I already learned from them.
Yeah.
I got a whole testimony telling me about them.
Yeah, I ain't doing that. Well, I got there's a conference coming up. It's like an 8-day conference. It's called a building conference. So for people who want to go to Africa, you get a chance to meet with contractors. You get a chance to see property where people are building.
When is it?
Get there to learn ins and outs. Man, I seen it on the African Diaspora News Channel.
So okay, let's find it, because I wonder if the ADDI is sponsoring it, because this is what Ezra doing right now. Ezra raising money to get us a 1-year business subscription to the ADDI. But I told him once I get back, we're gonna all get on we're gonna start having like a weekly Zoom. We chopping up business and getting into
right.
So once I get back from Cali, so I'm gonna get on that this coming up week. Start setting it up so we actually getting on one accord and really pushing everything.
Yes, as for, let me see. Pull it up here. Yeah, it's the
Torah garden, speaking the absolute truth. Torah nation.